third. I expect Villa to dominate possession. Maybe Wolves are going to have to play on the counter-attack.
We're underway live on Talksport, and it's the claret and blue shirts of Aston Villa, white shorts and light blue socks attacking the goal away to our left, and the old gold and black of Wolverhampton Wanderers attacking the goal away to our right-hand side. And immediately Unai Emery dances down the touchline. He's almost halfway down the touchline here at Villa Park, gesticulating, moving, shouting already as we get underway here under the lights at a chilly but not too cold Villa Park. Nunez picks the ball up deep inside his own half, flicks it forward towards the right-hand side. It's a little bit too heavy for Hwang to bring under control, and it slips out of play midway inside Aston Villa territory, wide on the left. 0-0.
What I don't understand, Sam, and you see this so much in this day and age, Wolves have kick-off, they go backwards, and all they do is play it around the back four for nearly a minute. What's wrong with getting the ball forward? You know, turning people around, getting Villa on the back foot. I'm not talking about hoofball, you know, just smashing it up, but playing it down the sides of the fullbacks or in between the centre half and the fullback. Get them turning around, facing their own goal. Get on the front foot. Get into the opposition's half. It's almost like you're just inviting pressure with what Wolves are doing at the moment.
Elsewhere, Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1. That one kicks off at 7:30 tonight. Here it's 0-0. Neves flicking the ball out towards the right-hand side, looking to get down the sides of Aston Villa. It's not a great ball back in field from Nelson Semedo, who was tight to the touchline, looked for Moutinho, and it was cleared away by Aston Villa. Up towards Watkins. Collins is close to him, really tight behind him on the halfway line. It's popped out of play. It goes for a Villa throw just short of the halfway line. 1 minute 47 seconds played. Luca Digne was making his 15th appearance of the season. Did have a bit of an ankle injury prior to the World Cup, taking a throw in on halfway for Aston Villa, who probably will be hoping that this match isn't as entertaining as it was last season, when Aston Villa took a 2-0 lead and then Wolves scored 3 times in the last 10 minutes to win 3-2. But we'd take some of that drama tonight, I think.
Definitely. But again, Wolves going backwards makes it very, very easy for Aston Villa. You know, you're the away team. You want to be on the front foot. And I get it, you know, players want to get into the game, get a touch of the ball. But look how high the Aston Villa line is. They're all on the halfway line.
Well, they can afford to have a high line, can't they? Because they're up against Diego Costa.
But even still, just play some balls down the sides. Well, we know 2 minutes into the game, and there's not a single Wolves player has got the ball and thought, my first thought should be, can I play forward?
They've given it away on the edge of their own penalty area, and it's come through to Bailey inside the box, left-footed shot, and he snaps that effort just narrowly wide of the left-hand upright, but almost to legitimise what Danny was saying, by fiddling around at the back but not having the confidence to get the ball far enough forward away from their own goal. They've given it away within 10 yards of their own penalty area, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and immediately Douglas Luiz sent the ball forward onto the Jamaican Leon Bailey, and he very nearly put Aston Villa in front. 0-0, 3 minutes gone. Talksport.
You know, they're doing it again. You know, they're playing out from the back. They're inviting Aston Villa to come on. So they give the ball away.
And Cash tries to escape down the right-hand side, but after robbing Hugo Bueno of the ball, he then lost control. It runs off the turf and slips behind. Might have gone out of play on the side of the pitch, actually, and it's away for a throw-in opposite us in front of the Doug Ellis stand over on the far side. But it hasn't been a great start from Wolverhampton Wanderers. Matthias Nunez now about 15 yards in front of his penalty area, sends it on towards the right. Nelson Semedo starts to gallop forward at a rapid pace. He's being watched by Emi Buendia, who rather easily robbed the former Barcelona player and won possession back for Aston Villa. Aston Villa, who were pretty cultured, and they schooled Spurs on Sunday. Wolves' only notable recent win was against Everton in their last away game. Free kick given against Douglas Luiz away to our right-hand side. Wolverhampton Wanderers gifted the ball back after a stray arm into the chin of Hwang from the Brazilian Douglas Luiz, who scored the second goal at the weekend. And now a chance for Moutinho to launch the ball into the box away to our right-hand side. That two-tiered Holt end, looking to help Emi Martinez repel anything that comes his way. Moutinho into the edge of the penalty area. It's headed away by Douglas Luiz. Poor free kick, really, and goes out towards the far side. And this is Hugo Bueno, the young Spanish left-back who has started the last 8 Premier League games now. Ball on towards Diego Costa. Hits cross into the box. Is blocked by Konza, and it goes behind and away for the first corner kick of the game.
Villa still look very comfortable at the moment. A little bit surprised they've allowed Wolves quite a lot of possession so far. Again, I think if Wolves are just going to play around at the back with it, it's not too much of a problem, but going to have to make sure they defend this set piece properly.
First corner of the game to be taken by Wolves over on the far side. The left as they look at it. It's a right-footed in-swinger from Podence, which is incoming. Kilman runs towards the near post. He's being held by Boubacar Kamara. Goes out towards the far side. Moutinho picks it up again, and then he decides to swivel away from Matt Cash. Find Podence, who then attacks the penalty area again from the left-hand side. He runs up towards the edge of the box. Konza is backpedaling. It's deep towards the far stick. He's headed down by Collins and cleared off the line. And it goes back towards goal, but it was always going well over the top from Podence on the edge of the area. But Nathan Collins there maybe should have done a little bit better with his header. Ezri Konza scrambling back on the line and managing to volley it clear.
I think it was a little bit difficult for him, for Collins. He was running backwards. It was a loopy cross. Very, very difficult. He might even have been offside had that gone to VAR. And he was backpedaling beyond the far post, and he's just tried to sort of nod it back down into an area. I mean, it wasn't really a clearance off the line, was it? It was very, very simple for him. There was no panic. He had plenty of time to take a touch, Konza, and then boot it clear.
Not much panic at all from Ezri Konza. Still 0-0, but a half-decent chance for Wolverhampton Wanderers. 0-0 the score. Here is Tyrone Mings, who has completed the most blocks and clearances for Villa over the course of the season. They don't win too many games when he's not in the team, and he'll have to be a little bit careful tonight in the spicy atmosphere of a derby. If he gets booked this evening, he will be suspended for the game against Leeds at home next. Still 0-0 in this game, and desperate times for Wolverhampton Wanderers, who need to put points on the board. Luca Dean travels down the left-hand side, being watched by Hwang. Hwang takes him right to the corner flag and then half clears it. It's picked up by Buendia, who's just short of the penalty area on the near side, the Aston Villa left. It goes back to halfway. Konza picks it up, strides forward into midfield, clips the ball over the top, looking for Ollie Watkins. It's overhit. I mentioned that points are desperate for Wolverhampton Wanderers. They're also desperate for Southampton and Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest in front down on the south coast by a 1-0. The game is live on Talksport 2, and here is how the opening goal sounded with Talksport's Alex Crook.
Johnson in behind here, back to Awoniyi, and Nottingham Forest have only their second away goal of the season.
And it's live over on Talksport 2. If you want to listen to that, then you can download our app. You can flick between the two stations. You can even ask your smart speaker to play Talksport 2. Here on the Wolverhampton Wanderers left is Max Kilman, the tall, rangy centre-half of Ukrainian heritage. He does qualify for England and Ukraine. As the ball was sent forward by him up towards the halfway line. Podence won it. It's gone to Moutinho. It's a bit scrappy. Doesn't get hold of it very well. Goes through to Konza. And then there's a half-hearted appeal for handball, and Emi Martinez clears but gives it straight to Neves. Neves sends it wide towards the left-hand side. Wolves on the attack now in those old gold jerseys. Podence, who's seeing a lot of the ball in the early stages, sends it right-footed across the penalty area to the other side, and Semedo attempts to cross. It's blocked by Buendia and goes out for another corner to Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are starting to warm into the game, Danny Mills.
That's better from Wolves, starting to play in Aston Villa's half, getting the ball forward. But that's because they won the ball higher up the pitch. It was a poor clearance from Emi Martinez, straight to Neves, who picks it up, 15, 20 yards inside the Villa half, and then you can spring forward from there. It's much easier to score when you pick the ball up from 40, 50 yards out rather than 80, 90 at the other end of the pitch.
Wolves have won just 2 of their last 11 Premier League matches. They sit second bottom of the table at the start of the night. The ball played short to Neves and then back to Podence. Podence's ball in towards the edge of the penalty area. Could have been a handball. Probably should have been a handball. It was about 3 yards outside the box. And it's going to be a free kick given against Matty Cash, whose arms just escaped the silhouette of his body as that cross came in. And it will be almost like a short hockey corner now for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
That's a harsh free kick, by the way. That's not given as a penalty. His arm's down by his side as he jumps, and it just flicks his hand.
Referee tonight is Jared Gillett. Brought in because he's a VAR specialist, remember, from Australia.
I think he's found his name is Gillet.
Have you got a gilet on tonight? No. You've got a much healthier coat than that.
Got a big coat on.
You have. Gone the whole hog. Here is Martinho down the right-hand side, clipping the ball towards the far post, looking for Nathan Collins. It's headed away. That's not a particularly great sign because Bailey went to clear it. It comes out towards this near side and goes out of play and away for a throw-in towards the benches, and it's out for a Wolverhampton Wanderers ball. It hasn't been a particularly fluid start for either of these two teams, and it hasn't been a fiery derby atmosphere either as of yet. We've played just 10 minutes and it's goalless on Talksport. Aston Villa, who have won 3 of the last 4 against Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are struggling. Costa hasn't scored yet for Wolverhampton Wanderers, but making a nuisance of himself down the right side. Plays it against Luca Digne, and it's corner number 3.
We talk about fiery derbies. Do these players really understand what it means? Was there 5 Englishmen on the pitch?
John McGinn was talking about it yesterday.
He's not playing.
No.
But that's what I mean. There's only 5 Englishmen on the pitch, so the rest of them, do they quite understand what this Midlands derby is all about? Probably not, is the answer.
No, I imagine someone's told them. Here is Podence on this near side.
You have to feel it, Sam.
Here is Podence in towards the near post, looking for Collins. It just skips past his brow. It goes out on the edge of the box. Neves recycles it. It's taken charge by Ollie Watkins, who heads the ball away. It bounces down for Martinho, and it goes out on the near side. Martinho back to Podence inside the area. Lovely little skip past the defender. Left-footed shot towards the far corner. Oh, it's a terrific goal. It's a wonderful goal from Daniel Podence. A brilliant bit of skill to get beyond the defender. He opened up his body and with his left foot he curled it towards the far post. Hit cannon into the net. Emi Martinez may have won the World Cup, but he couldn't get anywhere near that. It was a lovely little bit of trickery from Daniel Podence. A beautiful finish, and Wolverhampton Wanderers are in front.
Well, for a team that struggled to score goals, this is a fantastic goal. Absolutely magnificent. It cuts inside. Oh, the little piece of skill that he has is absolutely magnificent to go past Douglas Luiz. And he just bends it into the far corner. There's a little right foot, left foot to go round him, and then he has a little stumble, bit of composure, and then picks his spot in the far corner. Martinez absolutely no chance.
That was a terrific finish. Terrific finish and a lovely bit of skill to set up the opportunity for Wolverhampton Wanderers to take the lead. Their biggest issue has been scoring goals. They managed just 10 all season. Only Gillingham in the top 4 divisions in English football have scored less. But they are off the mark and off and running at Villa Park, a place where they usually enjoy such great success. And they are in front once again. And there's also been a goal in the game at Ellen Road. Mark Wilson.
It's Leeds 1, West Ham 0, 27 minutes on the clock. Willie Nonto, little 1-2 on the edge of the area. Somerville played him in, and Nonto lashed the shot past a stranded Fabianski. Leeds 1, West Ham 0.
Good start for Leeds United. Great start here for Wolverhampton Wanderers, and good start for Nottingham Forest down at Southampton, where they lead by a goal to 0. You're listening to Talksport live from Villa Park, and Villa have got to respond. How do they, Danny Mills?
Well, good chance here. Set piece. Wide out on this left-hand side. Luca Digne will be looking to whip it in. Wolves with an unbelievably high line. 3 yards outside the 18-yard box. Got to be very, very careful. It gives Luca Digne a huge space to whip this ball into.
Yeah, Luca Digne is going to take it on this near side. He's about a yard in from the touchline. He's midway inside Wolves' half of the field. He hits it left-footed, arcs it towards the penalty spot. Not a great delivery. Headed away by Hwang. And goes out on this near side. It's picked up by Digne again, very quickly into Ollie Watkins, who tries to cause trouble. Digne then collides with Nelson Semedo. The referee allows play on. Everybody gets up on their feet very quickly. Mings wanted to play it down the side towards Watkins or Digne, but they were offside.
No, they weren't, because Semedo was down on the floor.
Absolutely, yeah. They thought they were offside, and that's why he didn't play the ball. We should have given it back to them. Here's Bailey out towards the right. Matty Cash picks it up. It's back in towards Ashley Young, who swings it in towards the near post, and it's cleared away. And this is Talksport. Interesting that Ashley Young is playing so deep over on that far side. I'm not entirely sure if he isn't playing in a back 3. And every time I look at him, I'm thinking, is he playing right back or is he playing as a right centre half? He may well be playing as a right centre half. Listen, Adrian was talking about his versatility. He's played as a number 10, he's played as a winger, he's played as a central midfielder, he's played as a right back and a left back. He's the kind of guy playing goal if you asked him to. I have never seen him play centre back before.
No, you've got a point actually, because Luca Digne is very high on this left hand side. Matty Cash is very high on that right hand side. Yeah, perhaps he is playing, which is it's strange, isn't it?
It's not something I've seen him do, but maybe he's adept at it. We will find out over the course of it. Listen, if Luke Shaw can do it, why not Ashley Young?
Well, because Luke Shaw's a fullback.
Ashley Young's played a lot of football at fullback now.
Well, he has, but I think, going from winger to fullback to centre half is a big step change.
Here the ball is in midfield with Matthias Nunes of Wolverhampton Wanderers. He plays it out towards the right side. Semedo picks it up and helps it on into Hwang. Hwang now travels down the right touchline, then cuts it back into Semedo once again. Semedo back to Ruben Neves, and then Neves across the back four to Collins. Wolverhampton Wanderers leading away from home against Aston Villa by 1-0. Podence with the opening goal of the night, and it was a spectacular goal as well. Down the left, the ball goes into the channel. Racing after it was Hugo Bueno. Doesn't reach it, and it's gone behind and away for a goal kick. He's a talented boy, is Hugo Bueno, but he's not the only talented member of his family. His twin plays for Dortmund.
Oh, very good.
Did you know that?
I didn't. I do now. You are the oracle.
The Sado, I think, actually, is what they call it. Ball cleared away by Emi Martinez, and he's kicked it straight into the crowd over on the far side. There's got a few empty seats here tonight, which I was quite surprised about. The top tier of the Doug Ellis stand, in particular. A few empty seats also in the lower tier as well. And the Wolverhampton Wanderers section is absolutely packed, and they're delighted with the way things have started, as Nottingham Forest fans similarly are pretty happy down at the match at St Mary's, where it's Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1. They're approaching half-time in that match. Leeds lead West Ham United by 1-0. And Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 0. They played 16 minutes there. We played just over 17 minutes here, and it's 1-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers, the visitors. Here's Collins from the right fullback position up to Matinho. He helps it over the top, and now Hwang has been sent behind Digne. He tries to take him on. He had to wait, hesitate, and bring it down. He gets to the byline, low cross into the near post, which is clipped behind by Mings, and is yet another corner for Wolverhampton Wanderers, who, after quite a slow start where they played their way into the game, Danny, which you weren't too happy about, they burst into life and started to cause a lot more problems.
Well, they suddenly got on the front foot and they're looking to play the ball in behind. That's exactly what happens there. It's a good ball inside the fullback, down the line, and it gives Hwang something to run after. The defender's under a little bit of pressure, and they get a corner from it. Nothing worse as a defender than running back towards your own goal thinking, well, if I give it to the keeper, he's under pressure, then I'll have to kick it out for a throw-in or a corner.
Here is the free kick on the right-hand side to be taken by Matinho. He clips it right-footed in towards the near post. A little flick of the head by Kilman. It dropped inside the box, and it had to be skewed away. I'm not sure whether it was Martinez or a defender who got on the end of that and just swiped it out towards the halfway line, but Aston Villa very quickly desperate to get up to that halfway line. They eventually do, but Wolves have got possession of the football. Wolves lead by 1-0. Digne getting back at left back to help out his defence, and then Buendia picks it up central midfield. They're being outnumbered in that area, I think, Aston Villa, which is why they've lost control of the football on a number of occasions. Here is Douglas Luiz trying to get hold of it, plays it back to Ezri Konza. Konza across to Douglas Luiz, and then Mings will bring the ball forward over the halfway line. Matty Cash is the furthest Aston Villa player forward over on that right hand side.
Yeah, I think Villa they are playing a 4-4-2, and that's the problem that they've got at the moment. They've just got the two players in midfield against the three of the Wolves players, and that's why they can't keep hold of the ball for any length of time.
Mings chipping it down the left touchline. Digne trying to chase it. Jose Sarr comes out, takes charge and collects it. Not as influential as he was last year, Jose Sarr, 65% save percentages campaign, but he's still a very handy goalkeeper, doesn't concede too many goals. What's the situation down at Selhurst Park? Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur tonight, watching for us, Ian Abrahams.
18 gone, Palace 0, Spurs 0. Brian Hill with a curling effort saved by Guaita pretty easily, and Dogley's cross into the middle was over the top of Hill's head. Haven't seen Kane touch the ball in the penalty area yet. Palace 0, Spurs 0.
It's a Wednesday. Palace have struggled with post wins against the top six, but City and Chelsea certainly knew they were in a game against them earlier in the season. That is for sure. Tottenham will too down at Selhurst Park tonight. Still goalless there. 1-0 to Wolves here. West Ham behind away at Leeds, and Nottingham Forest 1-0 up down at St Mary's. You're up to date. This is Talksport in the Premier League, where Friday night we've got FA Cup action starting, a sweep of live commentaries. Manchester United against Everton kicks us off. We finish with Oxford against Arsenal on Monday evening. The ball is out of play, given away by Wolves rather cheaply. Semedo couldn't keep it in the perimeter of the playing surface down the right-hand side. Just skipped off the turf and went out to the asphalt on the near touchline. It's away for a Villa throw. And Luca Digne, the French international, it's given straight from Buendia to Podence, and Podence slips it into the box looking for Diego Costa, but his pass was inaccurate, couldn't find Diego Costa, and it goes behind. But there's something amiss here with Aston Villa. They're not quite right, are they, Danny?
I mean, that was a really strange decision from Buendia. I think he was trying to hook it on as best he got it completely wrong. Sliced it straight to Podence, but that's what you have to do. So Wolves are doing it much better now. Look, you're putting pressure on Villa in the final third.
They've given it away now again, Villa, and it's picked up by Hwang, who darts down the right-hand side, gets to the bylines, being backed up by João Moutinho. Moutinho on the touchline on the near side, sends it back to Semedo, and then he goes all the way back to Nathan Collins, a safety first option from Wolverhampton Wanderers. There wasn't too much of an outlet for them, to be fair. And now Jose Sá from inside his D will look up and send it forward to Collins.
Principles, Sam, of football have never, ever changed. If you win the ball in the final third, you have such a higher percentage of creating an opportunity for yourself.
Matías Núñez showing why so many are after him. Skips past two challenges and then sweeps the ball out towards the far side. Hugo Bueno then delivers across, takes a deflection. Might come through to Núñez, who chests it down. Goalkeeper comes out, and he comes out big as Núñez takes the shot, blocks it, sends it out to this near side. But it's Wolverhampton Wanderers who are on the front foot again. Semedo with a cross into the box, looking for Costa. It's just over his head. It goes out the other side, and Hugo Bueno picks it up again. Wolverhampton Wanderers trying to push and probe here. Sending the ball into the area is Hugo Bueno, headed away by Digne. Podence is first to it. Neves threatens to shoot. He sends it wide instead. It's stopped just about by Buendia, and they scramble it away, Aston Villa, towards the halfway line. And then across comes Collins to stop Watkins escaping, and it's out of play. But that was the full thunder of Wolverhampton Wanderers, and no wonder the Aston Villa supporters are getting frustrated.
Wolves have upped the tempo dramatically since that first 5 minutes or so. Really on the front foot, and what they're now doing, they're winning the ball back against Aston Villa in that final third. Doesn't matter whether you're Pep Guardiola. Howard Wilkinson used to talk about it, you know, all the times we go back to his days at Leeds. You win the ball in that final third, you're going to create an opportunity, and that's Guardiola's principle. It's much easier to get a cross or a shot away when you win it 30 yards from goal than if you win it 90 yards from goal.
Danny, there was just a moment there where Luca Digne picked the ball up midway inside his own half, turned and just sort of lifted it into the air towards his own goal. Tyrone Mings is like, what on earth are you doing? Here's Bailey going through the centre of the pitch, trying to find a pass out to the right-hand side. Didn't use Cash. Instead, was brought down on the edge of the box. Referee didn't see anything wrong with the challenge from Núñez, and it's cleared away towards the halfway line. Ashley Young has it, brings it down, skips past the challenge of Diego Costa. Costa leaves a little bit on him. Ashley Young goes down, free kick over on the far side.
There's too much these days of let's keep the ball for keeping its sake. Your first touch, your first thought should be, can I pass the ball forward? Can I run forward? Can I get into space? If you can't, then you think about keeping it. But too many players now, their first thought is, I'll go backwards. I'll just keep the ball. Simple as that. Look at Dean's just done it there. He's not even looked around the corner. Looked over his shoulders to think, can I go forward? No, I'll just go backwards and play safe.
Ashley Young chips it forward down the right side. Villa looking to respond to an early setback here in the game at Villa Park. Goes out of play over on the far side and away for an Aston Villa throw. Fascinating period for Aston Villa, who started the new year in a good position. Have won 3 of the last 4. They need to back up those victories. Jared Gillett's going to give a free kick for a foul here on Leon Bailey. It was Ruben Neves who just got tangled with him on the edge of the box, and as a result of that, it's going to be a free kick in a dangerous area.
Not convinced about this. There's not an awful lot in it. I don't think there is. I think both players go for the ball and miss it. Ruben Neves then gets his heel on the ball. Both players fall over. Referees decide it's a free kick.
Well, the good news for Aston Villa is that already this season, Wolverhampton Wanderers have lost 2 of the 5 Premier League games that they've scored first in. Leeds back in August and Crystal Palace in October. They've dropped 11 points from winning positions. Only Leicester and Nottingham Forest have dropped more. So there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for Aston Villa. Can they turn it around? 26 gone. Aston Villa 0, Wolves 1. They have a free kick over on the far side. Douglas Luiz, whose set pieces are world famous now after scoring twice from corners earlier in the campaign, lines this one up as Danny Ings and Callum Chambers warm up down in front of us. Surely Unai Emery's not thinking of an early change. Philip Coutinho's coming out as well now.
It's 25 minutes, lads. Just go and keep warm, isn't it? Yeah, standard one.
Douglas Luiz standing over the ball. There are 2 Villa shirts stationed in front of 3 old gold ones. It's going to be whipped in by Digne towards the near post, and it's pushed over the top by Jose Sarr, and it had to be because that was sneaking in the postage stamp.
Looked like Jose Sarr changed his mind a little bit there. It was like, I'm going to catch it. Oh, no, I can't. And then just about gets away with it, doesn't he? Just manages to push it over. Got caught in 2 minds.
Corner kick to be taken over on the far side, to be taken by Bailey over on that far touchline. He places the ball down, he looks up, he sees Konza to aim at, Kamara to aim at, Mings at the near post. He sends it instead short to Douglas Luiz, comes back to Ashley Young, who delivers it towards Digne, who heads it back across the face of goal. Mings was waiting for it. Might have been better going for goal there. Young then spoons the ball into the air from 30-40 yards, and it drifts behind rather harmlessly and goes out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. This is Talksport, game day exclusive with Now Sports. And don't forget that with Now Sports you can stream all the Sky Sports action, like Crystal Palace versus Tottenham, live tonight for $11.99, no contract. Search Now Sports. And currently that game is 0-0 as well. Leeds are beating West Ham, and Southampton at half-time are 1-0 down to Nottingham Forest.
I think Aston Villa are going to have to tweak their formation. They're just getting outnumbered in the midfield. Simple as that. You know, Douglas Luiz is pushing high to go on Ruben Neves, and then you're in trouble, you know, after that, because you can't leave 2-on-1 all the time, and that's the same reason why they can't get any play. Might have to just bring somebody in or drop somebody a little bit deeper.
Young pings the ball forward down the right, looking to use the speed of Cash. Watkins looks to feed him again. Cash didn't quite squeeze it through. It's picked up by Bailey, who joins the attack now. Jinks into the box, goes one way then the other, then runs into traffic. Couldn't get past Hugo Bueno, then wins it back again on the edge of the area. Villa coming forward now, and it's still with the edge of the box and Kamara. Kamara couldn't quite get it out from under his feet. He was tackled, and the ball went all the way back into the feet of Jose Sarr away to our left-hand side. 28 gone.
Better from Bailey though, direct, running at people, putting them under a little bit of pressure, making the defenders make a decision.
Ball clipped up towards the halfway line by Wolves. Wolves who lead through that Daniel Podence goal after 12 minutes. A goal which will live long in the memory. It was a lovely little darting finish from Daniel Podence, who has now scored 4 goals this season. He's scored against Everton. He's scored in all of their wins so far this campaign. That might be a sign. Now winning here, as they often do. Ball from Moutinho over the top of the Aston Villa defence. Offside flag goes up. It's going to be a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area. Southampton Nottingham Forest continues over on Talksport 2 in just a moment with Alex Crook and the former Southampton striker David Connolly. Friday night, Manchester United versus Everton from the FA Cup third round. Hugh Woozencroft is presenting that. Jim and Andy Townsend on the mic. Saturday, we've got a host of commentaries on Talksport and Talksport 2, and on Sunday as well. And then Monday night, Oxford United take on Arsenal. Next Tuesday night, more live commentary from the Carabao Cup, and Wednesday as well. In fact, there are 2 games, both Tuesday and Wednesday night on Talksport and Talksport 2 from the Carabao Cup 5th round. Looking forward to a whole week of football next week, because on Thursday night we've got Fulham against Chelsea as well. Wall to wall.
Not bad. You'll be a very busy man.
So will you, I think.
Oh no, I'm away.
Ball sent towards the edge of the penalty area, looking for Watkins. Penalty at Leeds. We'll get there in just a second. The ball drops on the edge of the Wolves penalty area. It's cut back towards Cash, but with no conviction. So collected by Ruben Neves and cleared out towards the far side. It's Diego Costa into Ruben Neves. He takes it up towards the halfway line and sends it out wide towards the right-hand side. Hwang is chasing, not going to keep it in. Just about does, down by the flag, then cuts back infield. We'll get to that penalty in just a second. Here is Nunez trying to get it into the box. He turns and gets it away. Let's go to Mark Wilson.
Penalty for West Ham given by VAR after the referee David Kuhn missed a clear and obvious error. Skamaka pass in. Bowen was brought down by Strout. Fornals missed an open goal. He should have scored. The referee, after much protest from West Ham, he was eventually called by VAR to check it. He did check it. It's a penalty. It's Paqueta who's got the ball on the spot in front of the cop end. Meslier stands in front of him. Paqueta left-footed. Oh, he stopped his run up and he puts it in the top corner. Great penalty in the end. It's Leeds 1, West Ham 1.
The equaliser for West Ham United, and Paqueta on the score sheet. Here it's 1-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Aston Villa 0, Wolves 1. Here is Matt Cash in the centre of the Aston Villa half. There was no one to pass the ball to forward. He had to go back. There was a few groans here at Villa Park as a result of that. Bailey on towards Buendia, who tries to skip past Neves, but Neves is too wily for that. Easy win for Neves, and the ball is then sent out to the far side. Villa complaining. They look frustrated. They look rattled. They look a little bit irked as Wolves come forward again with the rather irritator-in-chief Diego Costa over on the far side. He knows how to get people riled up, that's for sure. Picked up by Hwang, who approaches the edge of the penalty area and then stops and rolls it into the path of Jean Martinho. And Wolves actually look the more comfortable of the two teams, Danny, by some distance.
They do. Aston Villa look a little bit lacklustre, a little bit tired at times. There's been times where Wolves have got through the lines, that they've broken, and the Villa players are ambling back, I would say.
Well, Julian Lopetegui, who, like his compatriot Unai Emery, is usually quite demonstrative on the touchline, is going through the full Mikel Arteta range. As the ball worked out towards the far side, it's collected by Diego Costa. Into Hugo Bueno, who tries to jink past Cash, produces a decent cross into the near post, and Ming sticks out his foot and skews it over the top of the crossbar, and it's out for a fifth Wolves corner of the game.
Mings is fortunate there. He has a wild swipe at it, comes off his shin pad. Fortunate for him, goes over the bar. But again, what Wolves have done really well there, they've put the ball in behind. Diego Costa chases down the side of the 18-yard box, gets hold of the ball, and then suddenly you can build an attack from there. I've not seen Villa yet once get in behind the Wolves team, and they're playing two up top.
Corner kick to be taken by Podence over on the far side. There are 5 old gold jerseys to aim at in the centre. This deep one towards Collins, who keeps it alive but doesn't do much more than that. Heads it back towards Neves, who's a bit further out the area, stranded on the right. Collins is now in a little bit of no man's land, but has played the ball infield to Nunez. It's come back into the centre. Bueno's gone back to halfway, but there's no challenge on the ball from Aston Villa, and Wolves are allowed to reset. Neves skewing a beautiful ball out towards the far side. What a lovely flighted pass that was, collected by Podence in towards the near post, blocked by Cash, and Watkins trying to win it, takes it away from Bueno, holds on to it, then pokes it wide, and now Cash is rampaging down the right side. He's moving towards the edge of the Wolves penalty area. He's got support from Bailey inside the box, but Wolves have got numbers back, and he's had to go backwards. They didn't like that. Kamara stepped over the ball, Nunez has intercepted, and Wolverhampton Wanderers have come away with the ball, and more frustration at Villa Park, off to Selhurst Park. And here's Talksport, Ian Abrahams.
Crystal Palace 0, Spurs 0. Palace could have scored twice. Aye with a shot from 15 yards, well saved by Hugo Lloris, who got nowhere near an Anderson 30-yarder that just went wide of his left-hand post. It's all Palace right now. It's Palace 0, Spurs 0.
Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1, Leeds 1, West Ham 1. It's currently Aston Villa 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. And for the latest odds, you can head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Aston Villa to win this game at 4-1. Wolves are 11-8 on. The draw is 23-10. It's all thanks to Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+, begambleaware.org. This is Talksport. The ball is on the right side with Semedo trying to get the better of Buendia. And Buendia did just enough to get it back towards his own goal. And Maybe it took a flick off Semedo. It's dribbled behind and away for a goal kick, but Aston Villa look incredibly uncomfortable. They look agitated. They look a little bit off their game. They don't look like a composed side that went to Tottenham Hotspur at the weekend and schooled them.
Definitely not. But I think what Wolves have done, I was critical of them in the first, 5 minutes, just aimlessly knocking it around at the back. They've changed completely, haven't they? In the next, 30 minutes, they're looking to get in behind. They're putting a higher press on, causing Aston Villa problems. And at the moment, Villa have got no answer.
Well, for the 13th time this season, a goal has been scored in an Aston Villa match in the first 15 minutes. The opening periods of games involving Villa are usually ones to keep your eyes across, and that has happened once again. Only Bournemouth have conceded more goals than Aston Villa in the first 15 minutes of games before tonight. And Norton was a horrible challenge by Kwang. It's going to be a yellow card for his rather desperate lunge through Douglas Luiz. And he's a little bit lucky there that it isn't more than that. It was an unnecessary one. He was stretching for it, or it was high and his studs were up.
They do really well. There's Costas around him, Neves, Wanger's in there. They win the ball back, and as he's just trying to make the sliding tackle to win it after his initial nicking the ball off Buendia, he's just overstretching and ends up catching Douglas Luiz. It's a sore one because Luiz is coming through with a tackle. The momentum is his foot, he's going forwards, and that sliding tackle from Wang catches him. It looks like it's going to be all right, though.
There's another issue over on the far side for Daniel Podence, who claims he got an elbow in the face just moments ago. He's being helped up by Ashley Young. And the referee, Jared Gillett, just waiting before proceedings start again for everybody to come back on the pitch after taking a swig of drink. And the crowd inside the stadium treated to a picture of Matthias Cunha, who is all smiles. I'm sure he would be after joining this project. I know that Julian Lopetegui was pretty impressed by the fact that Cunha was prepared to join a side struggling in relegation trouble. Leeds will be trying to track players, so will West Ham United. Half-time at Ellen Road. What's the details? Mark Wilson.
It's Leeds 1, West Ham 1. Leeds in front. Willie Nonto's first for the club after a nice 1-2 with Somerville. He lashed the ball home, giving Fabianski no chance. But right on half-time, Skamaka's ball into Bowen. Bowen was clearly brought down by Stroik. The ball fell to Fornals. He missed an open goal. Referee said play on. VAR intervened. Clear penalty for West Ham. Lucas Paqueta got his first West Ham goal. It's Leeds 1, West Ham 1.
Aston Villa come forward again, but they're not dynamic enough, not crisp enough, not sharp enough. They're taking too many touches on the ball, and they're giving opportunities to Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are a tight pack. They get back very quickly, and they surround you and hound you and give you all sorts of problems. The opportunity to win the ball back. Here's Bailey down the right side again. Too close that ball to Hugo Bueno, who watched it, gave it back to Sarr. He slipped, and he has miscued the ball behind and away for a corner kick, and maybe a bit of encouragement for Aston Villa as we reach the last few minutes of the first half.
Well, I think the crowd need a bit of encouragement more than anything else, don't they? I'm not sure he even slipped, I think it was just a really poor slice clearance on his left foot.
Well, that slice clearance has resulted in an Aston Villa corner. It is their first of the game, and Douglas Luiz is going to take it. And there are 5 claret and blue jerseys on the penalty spot, being held and hindered by Wolverhampton Wanderers players. Buendia gets free, comes in towards the near post, went to hit it, but it was taken off his toes by Diego Costa. Comes back in from Cash from the midpoint of the Aston Villa half. Neves stretches to head it away. It's back in by Konza, still not clear by Wolves. It comes down on the edge of the box, and Diego Costa is accused of handball, but the referee didn't see it, and it goes back out wide to the left, where Hugo Bueno will clear from the left full-back position. Up in towards Moutinho, a little dab forward again. Doesn't go through to its intended target. Villa have it back again. We're in the 39th minute of this first half, and Aston Villa 0, Wolves 1 is the scoreline. It hasn't been a very fluid performance by the home team, who seem to have a bit of an issue when it comes to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves have been pretty impressive here whenever they've turned up at Villa Park over the last few years. It's been a long time since Villa beaten them. And in fact, I know Adrian's come out with some belting statistics today, but what about this for one? Villa have remarkably suffered 7 consecutive Premier League defeats to teams beginning with the letter W.
On a Wednesday?
Wednesday. Watford, Wolves and West Ham. Here come Wolves again. Matthias Nunes picking the ball up, running at speed with the ball, tries to release Moutinho, miscued it, gave it to Mings. Mings has launched it long and said to Watkins, chase that. He's done that. It came off Collins, I think, last. They should have a corner here. The referee has given a goal kick.
Referee had no clue, did he? He completely gambled on that one. They're both going for the ball. Collins is chasing Watkins. It's difficult for us to see. The referee was miles behind it.
It's a corner.
Again, he guessed.
But he's given the goal kick as a result, and now they're putting pressure on themselves again, Wolves, by playing out from the back and badly giving it away. Jose Sarr was the guilty party this time. That's a bit better from Aston Villa. That's not. Luca Digne trying to scoop it over the top of Semedo, and it goes out of play and away for a throw. We're approaching half-time. Here is Douglas Luiz. Infield it goes to Konza. Konza looks up, needs a bit of help somewhere. Aston Villa need a little bit of inspiration from somewhere. I wonder if there might be a couple of half-time changes here for Unai Emery's team. Unai Emery, who's had a little bit of an issue with Wolves himself when he was the Arsenal manager. He couldn't manage to beat them.
Well, Buendia looks exhausted at the moment. Just sort of like wandering around, sucking the air in as best he possibly can. Doesn't seem to have any sort of zip about him whatsoever.
It is his 7th Premier League start in a row.
And?
Mitigating circumstances. I mean, it would have been wise for you to point out that there was a 5-week break in between half of those. But anyway, here's
I was more thinking of those players that have played 50-odd games in a row.
Here is Digne, tries to skip it down the touchline. Oh dear, oh dear. What on earth was he doing there? He just literally backheeled it to Semedo. And then Nunez has then clipped into the left channel for Aston Villa to attack. It's a little bit ragged, and so is that clearance from Jose Sarr, who has just literally driven it into the crowd. Oh, and then Buendia has kicked the ball away because the referee stopped the match because Nunez needed treatment. They wanted to take a quick throw after the mistake by Jose Sarr. They weren't allowed to do so, so Buendia rather frustratedly picked the ball up and pummeled it into the north stand.
I mean, very, very strange. Should the referee allow play on? It probably should at that point. It's not a head injury. Doesn't look like it's a serious injury at that stage. Is it? Aston Villa are on the attack. When they're not particularly happy.
Well, Nunez isn't happy, and it doesn't look as if he's particularly comfortable down on the playing surface. He's getting treatment. There are 2 medical staff in attendance.
He plays on, guaranteed.
Let's go off to Selhurst Park and find out what's going on in that match. They're approaching half-time there too. It's Ian Abrahams.
3 to the break. Palace 0, Spurs 0. Palace still carrying the greater threat with Elise and Zaha absolutely frightening to death the Spurs back line. Could have had 2 penalties as well. Both went down inside the penalty area. Referee Michael Oliver said no on both occasions. Palace 0, Spurs 0.
You're listening to Game Day exclusive on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1 live over on Talksport 2. They played 10 minutes there. Half-time at Leeds, where it's 1-1 between the home side and West Ham. Crystal Palace, you've just heard from, still goalless, and Aston Villa 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1 live on Talksport. And the ball is out for a throw into Aston Villa. Back to reset from that wild clearance from Jose Sarr after that odd bit of play where Nunez ended up giving the ball back to Aston Villa after Luca Digne had tried a ridiculous back heel in his own half, which had yielded possession for Nelson Semedo. Douglas Luiz takes it from the throw and then tries to chip it to the edge of the penalty area. Matty Cash was asking for it, but Bueno comes away with it, and Wolves are able to clear through Kilman, right through the middle of the pitch, up towards Diego Costa, who takes it out of the sky well, shifts it onto Nunez, who, as predicted by Danny Mills, is continuing unhindered, onto Semedo, who runs down the right. He's being tracked by Douglas Luiz, but has had enough presence of mind to find Hwang, who's hugging the touchline, and then Nunez shifts it infield. A swish on by Moutinho helps open up the pitch for Bueno. Bueno comes back to Moutinho and then gets it once again. Neves knitting things together. Wolves quite comfortable in possession here, just short of the halfway line, and then he moves up forward towards Costa. Nunez, a little back heel from Costa in towards Podence, a low ball in towards the near post, and then it's towards Hwang, intercepted by Konza and out for another corner. But Wolves look the most progressive, look the more likely to score.
It's a lovely little touch round the corner from Diego Costa. I think Podence might have been offside had they have carried on. certainly very, very tight, but looked like it just strayed half a yard offside.
What a touch from Diego Costa. They've already scored one delicious goal. That was almost another.
That's what he's there. He's the focal point. He's not going to run in behind, you know, like he used to. But as a hold-up player, fantastic.
Corner in towards the near post. It's headed away by Ollie Watkins, chested down on the far touchline by Podence, who again has nobody around him, causing him problems. Matinho delivers a deep ball towards the far post, looking for Collins, but it's over him, and it goes behind the way for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. You would expect there's a bit of work to do in that dressing room for Aston Villa at half-time. What will Unai Emery be saying?
It's not just down to him. Some players got to work it out for themselves sometimes. They can see that there's problems in midfield. Ashley Young's just been clipped on the far side by Podence. You've got to work it out for yourself. So, for instance, we've just seen Jose Sarr slice 2 balls from back passes. So what would you do as an opposition player?
Press him.
Exactly. I bet it doesn't happen. It's almost like if you're not told to go and do it, you won't do it. A lot of players seem to have this inability to think for themselves.
Well, the results last year when Wolves beat Aston Villa, despite Aston Villa leading by 2-0, really stung that group of Aston Villa players. And I'm not surprised, because they haven't beaten Wolves here for 11 years. And again, this result is going against them. It's a late challenge by Kilman this time on Bailey. I think he's going to get a yellow card from Jared Gillett. But ultimately, yeah, he has. He's got a yellow card from Jared Gillett. But ultimately, Bailey was always a little bit uncomfortable in possession there anyway. I didn't think he was ever going. It was a heavy touch from him initially that invited the challenge.
Yeah, just got caught fractionally late. It's one of those where he just jumps in a little bit. It's almost like he decides to pull out of it halfway through after he's made his mind up, and because of that, just stands on his foot a little bit. Saw one.
1-0 to Wolves. Long ball by Mings up towards Watkins, hooked away by Kilman, and one in midfield by Kamara, who takes it down, gives it to Buendia. We're into the first of 2 added minutes at the end of the first 45. Digne on the touchline again, declines to put the ball in. Listen to that Aston Villa frustration which is emanating from the stands here at Villa Park. Left by Douglas Luiz. Konza back to Douglas Luiz. They need to get the ball out wide to Digne. He's in space on this near side. They haven't spotted him. Douglas Luiz has travelled with it and fallen over, and then he's got it back to Ashley Young. Now Bailey picks it up, drives into the heart of the defence, moves into the area, took one too many touches again, and then it's robbed by Bueno, and he works it out to the far side. Kilman takes charge, thrashes it clear. There would have been a free kick over on the far side anyway, but the half-time whistle has gone, and there are boos from some sections of the Villa Park crowd. It was quite a poor performance in that first 45 minutes from Aston Villa. I don't know what it is about Villa Park that brings the best out of Wolves, but they're going to win successive trips to Villa Park for the first time, unless Unai Emery can work his magic. At half-time, it's Aston Villa 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Yeah, it was pretty awful from Villa. So passive, and at times on the ball, Wolves looking so good and so creative. Could even have a bigger lead, but 1-0 it is to Wolverhampton Wanderers. And Danny Mills, am I right? Is that a fair reflection of what we've seen so far?
Definitely. Aston Villa incredibly passive, I would say. Not putting Wolves under any sort of pressure, and I think that's why you get booed. Fans will always accept if you're not that good. You know, they go, OK, that's what you are. But they won't accept lack of effort, lack of desire, lack of running around, and I think that's what we've had from Aston Villa in that first half. They've got to somehow provide a lot more energy in the second half.
Yeah, they're not giving the crowd anything to sing about. That might sound like a very basic thing to say. This place could be a cauldron, couldn't it?
It's so obvious, Adrian, at times. When I played at Middlesbrough under Steve McLaren, he would always say, right, first 5, 10, 15 minutes, need to get the crowd going, need to get them on our side and give them a lift. The crowd responds to the players, not the other way around. So it'd be like, have a run down the line, go into a big tackle, have a shot. Doesn't matter if it goes over or goes in the stand. Just give the crowd something to go ooh about or get excited. We've had nothing from Aston Villa whatsoever.
Right, Unai Emery, when he was at Arsenal, what they used to do, they were just intent on keeping possession. There was a moment here 2 minutes ago, right in front of us on this left-hand side as far as Villa are concerned. Luca Digne had the chance to swing in a first-time cross. He checks back, goes inside, goes backwards. It's happened so many times. They're 1-0 down.
And you've got 2 people up front. This is not like you've only got...
Get it in there.
It's like you've got no one in the box. And again, it's like when I talked about sometimes play it in behind the opposition defence. And I'm not talking about just lump it long for the sake of it. Luca Digne's got the ability there, get it out of his feet, and put the ball into that second 6-yard box, that corridor of uncertainty. Even if Wolves head it clear, where do they head it clear to? The edge of the box. And then you build again and you sustain attack after attack. By going backwards, then going back to the halfway line, you let Wolves off the hook and you give those defenders a breather, and it becomes much easier to defend.
Aston Villa 0, Wolves 1, live on Talksport. Daniel Podence with a brilliant goal in the 12th minute. I can tell you that Leeds 1, West Ham 1, Southampton 0, Forest 1. They're well into the second half of that one. We will be opting in and listening to that one. It's live on Talksport 2 right now. But let's catch up with what's happened in the first half at Selhurst Park. Whistle's gone for half-time. Ian Abrams.
Palace 0, Spurs 0. Palace the better side with the better chances. The first one which really could have gone in, Jordan Ayew, really lovely play down the left-hand side by Zaha, set up Ayew 15 yards out. His shot almost had Lloris wrong-footed, but the French keeper did really well in the end to save to his left-hand side. And then a couple of minutes later, a 30-yarder from Anderson just went wide of his left-hand post. Spurs have offered so little. Brian Hill's being shown up by the likes of Eze, Zaha and Elise in particular, who've been brilliant, and Harry Kane's had one header wide and a shot blocked, and that's about it for the England captain so far. Palace 0, Spurs 0.
Well, I've been watching a bit of Palace 0, Spurs 0 as well. Spurs have been absolutely filthy in that first half. I can't believe what I've been seeing at times from Tottenham Hotspur. Amazingly, just the one booking. Skip, who probably should have been sent off, got a yellow. How Michael Oliver hasn't dished out more yellows, I do not know. They've been pretty awful, Tottenham Hotspur. So then, to the game on Talksport 2. Let's listen in, shall we? Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Your commentary team is David Connolly and Alex Crook.
On the subject of players who are in need of a goal, is going to come on, and I think Joe Aribo as well. Could even be a triple change. Dozy completing the trio. As we welcome listeners from Talksport on what so far is another bleak night for Southampton and their new manager Nathan Jones. Saints 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Taiwo Awoniyi with a goal in the first half. Boos ringing around St Mary's at half-time. David Connolly alongside me. They have improved, Southampton, this second half.
Yeah, I mean, they had to, because they were dreadful in that first 45. You know, resorting to too many long balls, route one football. You know, couldn't pick up first balls, couldn't pick up second balls. Forest went ahead, scored a good goal on the break, but yeah, they have improved second half, and it looks like they're just on the verge of making a triple change here.
Yeah, Joe Aribo, Adam Armstrong, Samuel Dozy, all coming on. The first of the players to be replaced is Romeo Lavia. And with the score at Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1, you can understand why these changes are being made.
You can listen to that on Talksport 2. Just download the Talksport app for free. Swipe between the two stations. But let's go to Elland Road. A goal already in the second half. Mark Wilson.
Dream start for West Ham. It's Leeds 1, West Ham 2. Leeds pretty much straight from the kickoff, playing the ball out from the back. Ball played up to Aronson near the halfway line. He's played a pass. He's given it straight to Skamaka. 25 yards out. He's just got it out from under his feet. Curled it in off the far post, giving Meslier no chance. It's a great finish from Skamaka, and West Ham have turned it around. 2 goals pretty much in 2 minutes either side of the break. It's Leeds 1, West Ham 2.
The goals as they go in on Talksport. So Southampton 0, Forest 1 live on Talksport 2. Leeds 1, West Ham 2. Start of the second half there. Here at Villa Park, it's half-time, Villa 0. Wolves 1, and half-time at Selhurst, it's Palace 0. Tottenham Hotspur 0. You're listening to Kick-Off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+, begambleaware.org.
Kick-Off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+, begambleaware.org.
What does Asahi Super Dry taste like? Crisp, refreshing, and always super dry. A taste as unexpected and surprising as modern Japan. That's why it's Japan's #1 beer. Asahi Super Dry, beyond expected. Go to asahisuperdry.com to verify. Enjoy responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk to find out more.
Hello, my friend. Life comes at you fast, so make time for you time with Just Eat. For early times, lunch times, late times, strange times. The perfect times for the McDonald's Sausage and Egg McMuffin, Five Guys Cheeseburger and Strawberry Shake, Domino's Pepperoni Passion, plus more from Costa Coffee, Creams Cafe and Pizza Express. So order now, later, in a bit, whenever. We got it.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Product subject to availability in restaurant and serving times. Participating stores only. See justeat.co.uk for details.
You what? You what? You what? You what? You what?
You're not watching the big footy games in a pub and grill fan zone at Village Hotels? Who are ya? Premier League and big games on giant screens, stadium seats, great lineup of beers, and dirty burgers and bar snacks to tackle. Plus, win big game tickets, beer for a year, and other great prizes. Visit villagehotels.com/Talksport. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. Always drink responsibly. Who are ya?
We've got it at Selco. Selco is where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade quality building products. This month, we've got 20% off the trade price of all Rapid Plus self-assembly kitchen units. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com.
We've got it at Selco. Selco is where the trade goes.
That charged at 20%.
This football season, get a hand from Betfair's popular Bet Builder and easily add our fan favourite football selections to your bet slip in just one tap. Spend less time finger faffing and place your bet the easy way. Now that's handy. Betfair.
Exclusive to Betfair Sportsbook. Terms and conditions apply. Please see frequently asked questions on support.betfair.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
For all the top Premier League analysis, listen to The Game, the Premier Football podcast from The Times. Every Monday and Thursday, join Hugh Woozencroft and a host of big-name guests for in-depth reaction and opinion on the latest action and the biggest issues in the world of football.
It's a massive goal!
Hear previews of all the upcoming matches and provocative and compelling opinions from some of the finest football writers from The Times and The Sunday Times.
Lovely bit of football!
Listen to The Game on the free Times Radio app or wherever you find your podcasts.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. We search a panel of lenders to find you the best deal. Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
Get all the goals on your radio. Game day kickoff
on Talksport.
So no further changes to scorelines on Talksport this evening. Southampton 0, Forest 1 on Talksport 2. Leeds 1, West Ham 2. They're into the second half in that one. And a couple of 8 o'clock kickoffs. Palace 0, Spurs 0. And here at Villa Park, half-time, Aston Villa 0. Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. So let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Nicola McGeady, Wolves 1-0 up. I think they deserve that lead, but 1-0's a narrow scoreline, as we know.
Yeah, well, Adrian, they went into this as the underdogs, although they weren't friendless in the betting. They did have supporters, and now they have the upper hand to continue their good record in this fixture. We make them 4-7 favourites now, and they have looked very good here tonight. Villa fans, they're not happy. They're as big as 13-2 now to get 3 points with the draw 12-5. We are expecting more goals with Villa 23-20 to score next, and Ollie Watkins, he's available at 4-1 to score next. It's goalless to break between Palace and Spurs. 27-20 says this remains a draw and hopefully not a goalless one, which is priced at 5-2.
Nicola, thank you very much. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Well, the bottom of the Premier League table is looking very interesting as things stand right now. And of course, there's still time to go. Goals will be scored. Things will change. But as it stands right now, Southampton at the bottom of the table will be 4 points adrift of safety. Everton will be second bottom in the Premier League. Bournemouth will drop into the bottom 3 after their horrendous run. Wolves will be out of the bottom 3. Leeds will drop to 16th. Forest up to 15th. There were many saying a few weeks ago Forest have got no chance of staying up. They'll be in 15th, a point clear of the bottom 3. And with West Ham taking that early in the second half lead at Leeds after being behind in the first half, they will be up to 14th. And I do wonder Danny Mills, if a defeat for West Ham might have cost David Moyes his job this evening, but whether it would have done or not, and still might lose the game, who knows? It's incredible that they've turned that around at just the time David Moyes needed it.
Incredible, isn't it? But 2 points separate 7 teams, down the bottom. That's how tight it is. It's ridiculous down there. That's why I think, even with the score as it is here at the moment, with Aston Villa getting beat, you would think that Villa have got enough to be safe at this stage.
21, 4 points ahead of Leicester, who are top of that bunch of teams. They're on 17 points, but Leicester in 13th on 17. They're just 2 points above Everton, who are second bottom. It's incredible.
It's unbelievable, isn't it, how tight it is down there. So now it's all about the transfer window, who can get players in. That's going to be absolutely crucial. I wouldn't get rid of David Moyes, no matter what, at this stage of the season. He's been there, seen it, done it. He's experienced. He's not going to panic in this situation. We know that you can organise a team defensively, and that's the key. If you can keep clean sheets, if you can keep it tight, you've always got a chance of nicking something at the other end. It's those teams that I worry about that ship a load of goals. When you look at the likes of Southampton, Bournemouth, they're the ones that I really worry about.
It's interesting you say that, because he himself, Moyes, was saying the players who were scoring goals last season, Bowen, Antonio, etc., are not scoring goals this season, but that can click at any moment, can't it? Suddenly one goes in and Bowen goes on a run.
And that's what I mentioned sort of at the top of the show. West Ham, pretty good defensively. Only conceded 23. Everton have done pretty well this season defensively. Take out last night, they've done okay, this year. So you're just thinking, those two teams are staying in games. Can we nick something at the other end? A lot of the other teams down there, Wolves have done pretty well as well, defensively. The other teams are conceding lots of goals and not scoring. They've got 2 problems to fix.
So, after what will be 18 games, you look at those who are 30 and above goals conceded, and they are Southampton. Bournemouth have conceded more than anybody else. Leeds are in that number as well. Forest as well, and Leicester City have conceded 31. So, if you're right and it's based on good defence, those teams better be worried. Aston Villa do look okay in 12th place, 21 points, 5 currently above the relegation zone, but they're trailing this evening. Wolves, as it stands, will be getting themselves out of the bottom 3. We will be keeping you in touch with the rest. On Talksport 2, it's Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1. What a big result that'll be for Forest. It's Leeds 1, West Ham 2. That was a 7:45 kickoff. Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 0. The second half about to get underway at Selhurst Park. Keep you updated with that. But here at Villa Park, as Wolves join the Villa players on the field, it's Aston Villa 0, Wolves 1. Let's bring you second half commentary from this Premier League game, live and exclusive on Talksport, with Danny Mills and Sam Matterpace.
Well, Aston Villa have picked up no wins in their last 32 Premier League games when they've been losing at half-time since the 2-1 win over Watford in January 2020. And in order to try and reverse that trend, they have brought on Philippe Coutinho at half-time, which is an interesting change, and he's replaced Ashley Young at the break, which means, I think, a conventional switch to 4 at the back, 3 in midfield-ish, and then Watkins up front with support from Buendia and Bailey. We shall see.
Adama Traore coming on as well for Wolves. I wonder if that's an injury, because for Podence, he took a knock in the face, didn't he?
He did.
Late on in the first half. Just wonder if he's feeling the after effects of that.
And he got his 4th goal of the season as well to put Wolverhampton Wanderers in front, but he hasn't lasted the match. He goes off at half-time to replace by Adama Traore. He added something, actually, when he came off the bench in the game at the weekend against Manchester United. He has started 6 of the last 9 league games before today.
He's glistening, Sam. He's oiled up and ready. He's absolutely glistening.
Well, he doesn't often produce the kind of numbers that you would expect from his reputation. Only 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 48 league appearances for Wolverhampton Wanderers and Barcelona combined since May 2021. But he is a threat, he is a handful, and he's on the pitch for the start of this second half, as is Philippe Coutinho, whose career has sort of stalled a little bit after a bright start at Aston Villa. What do they need to change in terms of their approach, Aston Villa? It's attitude more than anything else, isn't it?
Attitude and work rate. I think he's made that tactical switch, get another player into the midfield. They were getting outdone way too often in their 3 against 2. So he's made a tactical switch, but now it has to come down to attitude. They've got to work harder. They've got to put some effort in.
Well, Bailey's hanging on to the ball again far too long. Coutinho was waiting in the centre circle, in acres of space, needing the ball played into him early. It wasn't done by Bailey, and it's cleared up away by Wolverhampton Wanderers. So Emi Martinez is the Villa goalkeeper. They're attacking the Holt end away to our right in claret and blue shirts and white shorts in this second half. Matty Cash is the right back. Konza, Mings and Digne make up the back 4. Kamara, Luiz and Buendia. And then up top, it's Coutinho, Watkins and Bailey. And for Wolverhampton Wanderers, in old gold shirts, black shorts and old gold socks, they're attacking the north stand away to our left. They've got Jose Sarr in goal, Semedo, Collins, Kilman and Bueno. Then Neves, Moutinho and Nunez in midfield with Hwang, Costa and now Traore going forward. There was a little bit of consternation because Aston Villa thought they should have had a free kick moments ago. They didn't get one. Now they have got one, but there's been a goal at Crystal Palace, and here's Talksport's Ian Abraham.
Palace 0, Spurs 1 against the run of play, and it's happy days for Harry Kane, who now gets into double figures on a Wednesday as well. Lovely cross to the far post by Ivan Perisic. It was begged to be headed in, and there was England captain to do so. Palace 0, Spurs 1.
Palace 0, Spurs 1, Aston Villa 0, Wolves 1, Leeds 1, West Ham 2, Forest lead away at Southampton. Buendia, ball spun out towards the far side, inviting Digne to chase. He gets there by the corner flag, produces a cross. It's not a very good one, and Collins can eat it up at the near post as Villa come forward once again. It remains 1-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and now Konza takes over, sending it to the right. Bailey tries to travel down the right side, produces a low cross into the near post, which is dealt with by Max Kilman, and it's straight back out towards the near touchline where Matt Cash is waiting for it. Cash comes back to Konza. Konza across to Mings, and once again Aston Villa looking to try and find a way through this tight wound Wolverhampton Wanderers defence. Mings splits the defence with a pass, but it was well read by Semedo, who comes across and nudges it out on the far side. A little bit brighter from Aston Villa at the beginning of this second 45. We have the ball again on the halfway line with Douglas Luiz. Kamara, Douglas Luiz again. Swings it out towards Cash, who's a good 7 or 8 yards in from the right touchline, midway inside opposition territory, onto Bailey. Bailey runs towards Hugo Bueno, has the ball at his feet, sends it back to Cash, who delivers a cross into the box. It's over the head of Coutinho, away by Collins, but only as far as Luca Dean on the far left, into Watkins, back to goal, back to Digne again, a low ball in towards the near post, and it's kicked away by Ruben Neves, but not that far, and again the pressure comes from Aston Villa. They're keeping it on here, Danny.
They are, but they've got to make sure their crosses are better. They've had 2 or 3 opportunities and they've hit the first man every time so far.
Buendia into Coutinho, skips the ball forward into the penalty area, but it's into no one in particular, and it goes straight through to Jose Sarr. They don't play together too often, Buendia and Coutinho. When they do, it doesn't always work, because sometimes they try to occupy the same sort of space.
Well, I'm just trying to work out, sort of Coutinho's playing off the left. It's still a 4-4-2 really, isn't it? I don't think he has changed the formation too much. Looks like Coutinho's gone on the left-hand side. Bailey's dropped to the right. So really, it's a change in personnel rather than tactics. You've still only got the 2 in midfield against the 3 Wolves players.
We'll see how it develops here on Talksport as the ball is launched forward to Diego Costa from Semedo from the right side, won by Digne, picked up by Mings. Mings now trying to nudge it on towards Konsa. Konsa strides up to the halfway line. He's long, he's lean, he finds Matt Cash with his hair a little bit closely cropped nowadays, and it used to be slicked back over the top of his head into Coutinho. In a little pocket of space finds Digne. Decent looking cross this time, flicked away by Kilman. Kilman gets it out to the right side of the area when Bailey tries to chop it back towards Cash. But again, you know, Leon Bailey does this quite a lot and has done over the course of the game so far. He's either held onto the ball too long, or he's tried something which is intricate and delicate when he needed something more purposeful.
It's all about end product, isn't it? You know, you can run around and you can travel with 40, 50 yards with a ball, but you have to have an end product, whether that be a shot, a cross or a pass.
And Watkins is complaining to Bailey now because he was stationed out on the right-hand side, keeping out of the way, and Watkins wanted him closer to him so he could challenge for the ball and then look for the second knockdown, but he wasn't anywhere to be seen. And Wolves have picked up the ball, and then there's a foul on Hwang, and it's going to be a free kick just short of the centre circle. So we've played 6 minutes of the second half. It's Aston Villa 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. And Unai Emery's had a bit of an issue with Wolverhampton Wanderers when he was Arsenal boss. He's having a bit of an issue with them again. He hasn't had too many successes against Julien Lopetegui either. Just one win in 5 managerial meetings when they met earlier in the season. Villarreal 1, Sevilla 1. There's a yellow card coming out here for Diego Costa. There's a shock. That would have been your banker bet of the night.
Do you know what? It wasn't actually that bad. I think he just catches. That's not that bad at all. He pulls out of it halfway through.
Yeah, it's not really a yellow card. It's a cynical one, isn't it? Because he's travelling away from him.
It's a trip and nothing more. Mings rolls over, 3 falls and a submission.
It's probably a yellow card, isn't it? Well, not for you, obviously.
Well, no, but not compared to a lot of the other tackles that you've seen so far. And I think this is the problem that we've got at the moment. Referees have obviously been told be a little bit more lenient, let the game flow, but I think that's causing more inconsistency.
1-0 to Wolves. Ball bent round the corner by Matty Cash, looking to try and find Watkins. Interception from Kilman, cleared away. Villa very second best during the course of the first half. And it looks like Crystal Palace is second best in the second half down at Selhurst Park. Ian Abrahams.
Palace 0, Spurs 2. Harry Kane at the double in double quick time, just 2 behind Jimmy Greaves. Goal scoring record now for Tottenham on his 300th league appearance, firing one home below Guaita, who maybe could have done a bit better. Palace 0, Spurs 2.
Bailey picks it up for Aston Villa and charges towards the edge of the Wolves box. He gives it to Coutinho, waits too long again to get it into the centre. He gets it back off Boubacar Kamara, dives to the floor, looks for a penalty. Coutinho not going to get one. Referee says play on. Kamara has it now just in front of the halfway line. Aston Villa trying to up the tempo. Emery trying to push them and try and cajole them into performing just a little bit higher in terms of intensity than they have been so far in the game. But they look a little lost, Aston Villa, in this match. And after being so well drilled and organised in the game against Tottenham Hotspur just 3 short days ago, they are a shadow of the side that beat Antonio Conte's men at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Here's Bailey taking the ball out of the sky well. What's he going to do with it this time? Oh dear. He's played it behind Emi Buendia and given it straight to Matthias Nunez.
Sometimes, if things aren't going your way, you just have to simplify it. Just make sure the next pass that he has, just give a simple one.
Traore being released down the right side for Wolverhampton Wanderers, and they could be in trouble here, Aston Villa. He goes on the right side, produces a cross, is pushed away by Emi Martinez into the open penalty area, rescued by Douglas Luiz. He just dollies it up towards the left-hand side. There's no chance that Ollie Watkins is going to win an aerial fight with Nathan Collins.
No, but equally, Traore gets into really good position, goes past his fullback, and then it's a poor decision. You've got to look at the players in the box. He fires it across straight into the goalkeeper's arms. Oh, I put a good cross in. Well, no, you didn't, because there was nobody there. Sometimes you have to get your head up. That's where he was tight to the byline. He just needed to dink it up to the far post. Let Diego Costa go and attack it.
This is Talksport. And it's Aston Villa 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, live on Talksport with Now Sports. And don't forget that with Now Sports you can stream all the Sky Sports action, like Crystal Palace versus Tottenham live tonight for $11.99. No contract. Search Now Sports. And if Villa are going to be successful, then turning this place into a fortress will be important. It's a big, imposing Holt End, and the noise that it can generate at its best are real assets. But they've won 3 of the last 5 before today, and also beaten Chelsea by 2-0 here. But one of the big issues they had under Steven Gerrard was not winning enough games in this stadium. Here is Cash down the right-hand side, moving it into Bailey. Bailey, trickery once again. A low ball into the box. Again, not a great delivery. Pops out to Kamara. Edge of the area, takes it down left-footed and swishes the ball towards goal. And it curls off with the outside of his foot and goes behind. Lopetegui's going crazy, absolutely crazy. And it goes out for a goal kick. And as powerful as this stadium is when you're doing well, when you're not doing so well and not playing upbeat football, it can drag you down in equal measure when you are not. We'll come back to that in just a second. There's been action at Leeds United. Mark Wilson.
Well, it's still Leeds 1 at West Ham 2. Sam Skamaka's goal giving right at the start of the second half, and Leeds have just got a chance. They pulled pulled it wide. Skamaka pounced on a loose pass from Harrison, scored from 25 yards off the inside of the post, but this one's boiling over. David Coote losing control. Somerville just putting a horrendous challenge on Safal. Safal had to leave with blood gaping from a shin wound. There's some tackles flying in here. It's boiling over. There's 22 left. Leeds 1, West Ham 2.
Not boiling over here as of yet, but the atmosphere might get a little bit toxic should Aston Villa go further behind. They've won the ball on the halfway line, then a foul has been given against Buendia for a tackle on Matthias Nunez.
But this is what I'm talking about.
The referee, I think, a little bit sort of quick to judge.
But once he gives that, he's got to book him. If he's going to be consistent, he doesn't see the replay that we get. It's not. Once he gives that foul, studs up, surely he's got to book him if he's going to be consistent. We've just heard there, ridiculous tackle in the Leeds game, and I think this is the problem that referees have got. They're trying to be more lenient. They're trying to let things go, but they're still missing some really poor tackles at times.
What category did that tackle fall into for you?
It was tame, and I'm not even sure it was a foul. But once the referee says it's a high foot and he catches him, got to give it.
Goal at Leeds United. Ellen Road for us, Mark Wilson.
It's the equaliser. Leeds 2, West Ham 2 against the run of play. Leeds winning the ball high up the field. They feed it into Rodrigo, edge of the area, works it onto his left foot, and he's lashed it past Fabianski. It's a great strike from the edge of the area. It's Leeds 2, West Ham 2.
Buendia in towards the near side. Bailey back to Buendia, and Buendia just dollies it up into the path of Max Kilman, who is able to clear. And then Buendia is penalised for another foul on Nunez, and now there's going to be 2 changes for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And it looks like Joseph Hodge and Ryan Aitnori are going to come on for Julian Lopetegui's men, and they're just going to just rev up that engine room and that left back position where Bueno has been playing. It'll be interesting to see where Aitnori is deployed. But again, Aston Villa, nice pretty patterns by the touchline, little triangles, keeping the ball well, and then end product.
Well, they've had 1 shot on goal, 3 shots in the whole game, and a couple of those have nearly hit the corner flag. And this is the problem sometimes, and this is what a lot of teams tend to create. Nice players that can keep the ball, have got good stats, pass it backwards, pass it sideways, but don't actually affect the game in any way, shape or form.
João Moutinho is off, and on comes Hodge, and Hwang comes off, and Aitnori comes on. So I don't know if that'll be a change in formation for Wolverhampton Wanderers, but maybe Aitnori will come out towards this left-hand side and play as a sort of auxiliary left winger, with Traore over on the right and Costa through the centre. Hodge will definitely play in midfield. He made his first start in Lopetegui's first game in charge. He was picked up from Manchester City's youth system. He's 20 years of age. He's an Irishman who can spoil in midfield. Maybe he's just going to go and sit over on Coutinho for a bit, just to make sure he doesn't get too much influence in the game. Costa on halfway, holding the ball up well. Bueno joins the attack. Aitnori goes charging down the left. He's trying to push Cash back into a defensive position, and the ball is smuggled out for a throw-in down by the corner flag, and it is a Wolverhampton Wanderers ball. We've played 59 minutes, hitting the hour mark on Talksport, and it's Wolverhampton Wanderers who lead by a goal to nil away at Villa Park. It's been 11 years since Villa beat Wolves here on their own patch. They've struggled to dismiss them in this fixture for so long. Wolves thrive on the occasion, and they're thriving on the occasion again, bearing in mind that Wolves started the day bottom of the table, or second bottom of the table, and could end the day out of the relegation zone. And their last 5 wins have all been by a 1-goal margin, so they need and know how to get over the line.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they haven't scored a lot of goals all season, but we talked about it, they've been defensively solid. And if you are defensively solid, and partly down to that tonight is that Villa have been awful in attack, but if you can nick a goal the other end and then you can keep a clean sheet, that's it, simple. And this is why all the teams down there, I always worry about the teams that can't defend properly.
Collins heads the ball into the evening sky. It drops out onto the feet of Digne, but Traore, using his muscularity, just nudges him off the ball and then rather wisely pops it off to Aitnori. It goes infield and then out again towards Semedo, back towards the right hand side, and into Collins. Collins, long and lean, very tall, plays it to Kilman, who's equally as large in terms of stature, sends it down the left-hand side, looks for the run of Bueno. Cash comes across, tries to clear it, manages to do so, then Bailey runs up towards the near side and then manages to retain possession, which is a positive for Aston Villa. Here is Konza onto Mings, moving up over the halfway line. Before tonight, Aston Villa failed to score in 4 of the last 5 Premier League meetings with Wolves. They scored 2 here last year, but they are struggling again to find the net against this resolute Wolves pack. Here on the right is Bailey, back to Cash. Cash on halfway, swishes the ball from right side to left. It's a beautiful pass which opens up the pitch for Digne. His pass is too heavy into Coutinho, but he kept it alive with a little nudge into the box which almost reached Watkins and Buendia, and it was cleared away on the far side. Digne's first ball, into Coutinho just asked too much of the Brazilian.
Villa's final pass or entries into the final third, once they've got into those positions, have been really poor. Poor decision making and poor execution.
Kamara trying to bundle his way through past the Wolves defence into Coutinho, who immediately is robbed by Diego Costa. Costa takes it up towards the halfway line and then runs out of room, travels out of the playing surface, and it goes away for a Villa throw. They get a bit of encouragement from the crowd here as the noise and the temperature rises. 1-0 to Wolves. You're listening to Talksport. Nottingham Forest leading against Southampton. West Ham 2, Leeds 2 at Ellen Road. And Crystal Palace are 2-0 down to Tottenham at Selhurst Park. Ball chipped out towards the far side by Boubacar Kamara. Again, Luca Digne. The ball is sent out to him. It wasn't the easiest ball to control, but instead of trying to bring it down in probably 10-15 yards of space, he volleys it towards goal, and it just spoons off into the Holt end. It was
doesn't go towards
decision.
goal, does it? That's the thing.
It's a terrible decision.
And that's what I'm saying. Every time they get in the final third, execution of the final ball has been really poor, and the decision making has been poor.
Aston Villa 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. The latest odds are available if you go to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Aston Villa to win the game at 8-1. 2-1 on now for Wolves to win the match. 12-5 the draw. It's all thanks to Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org. Buendia. Aston Villa coming forward again, desperate to get an equaliser in this game, and you get the feeling if they do get an equaliser in this game, the noise levels inside Villa Park will really take off, and maybe that will help them surge towards a victory. Ball into the box, looking for Bailey, it's too high for him, and Digne's delivery again inaccurate, goes scything through the area and out on the near side and away for a throw into Wolverhampton Wanderers, who haven't really had to do much in the way of defending because the balls into the area haven't been good enough.
No, but Aston Villa have been very, very poor. Really, really disappointed with them. They've had a little bit more energy in the second half, but made a couple of substitutions. Obviously Coutinho coming on, but hasn't really been able to get on the ball as yet. And at the moment, 8-1 for Villa. I'm not sure they're watching the game. It should be a lot higher than that.
They are still missing one or two. Jacob Ramsey still sidelined with a thigh problem alongside long-term Achilles victim Diego Carlos. But they are masters of their own downfall here. Here is Hodge breaking from midfield. Ball's been played out towards the far side. He's got it now, moves it into Aït-Nouri. The substitute runs up to the edge of the box, combines with Hodge again. Into the area he goes. A right-footed cross, which is headed away by Konza. Comes out to Diego Costa. Right-footed volley, takes a couple of deflections. Is cleared away off Cash and then hits Bailey. Bailey almost gave it away, but he's got it once more and he runs over the halfway line, being trapped by Nunez. He's still going. He's being trapped by Nunez, hunted by Nunez, hounded by Nunez, and Nunez has knocked him to the floor to win a free kick for Villa, but actually he just wanted that more than Leon Bailey did, and I'm not entirely sure it was a free kick.
Lopetegui's absolutely furious, isn't he? Diego Costa's just gone down, I think, killing a little bit of time. Knows what he's doing, Diego Costa.
Well, they've got more problems now, Aston Villa, because they're going to bring on Matthias Cunha, their new signing. I wouldn't be too surprised if it's Diego Costa who is removed as a result of that. The man who speaks so many different languages fluently. He's never really been prolific with his feet as he is with his tongue. He didn't score in 17 appearances this season for Atletico Madrid, but sometimes he just gives up a little bit of space for others, creates opportunities for others. And he is making his debut for Wolves tonight to much acclaim from the far side. Costa's job is done, although it's now 16 club appearances without a goal for Diego Costa, who himself used to be so prolific. Full-time at St Mary's. Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1. That's the full-time score. It means that Southampton bottom of the table, 12 points. They are 4 points from safety. West Ham slip into the bottom three if that scoreline stays the same at Ellen Road. It's 2-2 there. And Everton drop into the bottom three as well.
What a game that is next for Everton. Southampton. That's a... For one, Sam, it's a genuine 6-pointer, that, isn't it?
It is a genuine 6-pointer. Another change for Aston Villa, and Leander Dendoncker comes on. So does Augustine. So 2 changes for Aston Villa. And Dendoncker, an interesting shift for him, because he started the season with Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Please welcome number 9, Danny Ings, 17.
Danny Ings is on as well.
32,
Up front in place of Ollie Watkins. Here is Konza into Mings. Mings trying to look up and find an option. Ings spins into an advanced position, but there's no pass forward for Tyrone Mings. And then Cash clips it down the right side, and Bailey's testing his pace with Bueno, but Bueno is rapid just as he is. And they guide the ball behind Wolves out for a goal kick. Another goal at Selhurst Park, and it's becoming a good night for Tottenham. Ian Abrahams.
Game over. Palace 0, Spurs 3. Whatever Antonio Conte said at half-time, he should bottle it and use every week. Matt Dogs has just steered in the third. Son should have made it a 4 and should have scored beforehand, but couldn't beat Gatron a 1-on-1. This is very one-sided now. Palace 0, Spurs 3.
Ian Abrahams, who's at Selhurst Park, and all that trouble that Antonio Conte was causing and riling everybody up before the game, he certainly had its desired effect. They lead by 3-0, and it was a timely 3 points as well, because having dropped 3 points against Aston Villa at the weekend, they needed to make sure they kept a pace with Manchester United in particular, who have started to pick up points at a rapid rate. Here it's 1-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I can't really see how those changes are going to affect Aston Villa. They brought on a clutch of new faces. Dendonker's gone into midfield, and Ings has gone up top, and Augustinson has gone out to left back. What will that do you think?
Still not really much of a change in formation, is it?
No.
It looks like Buendia is going to play up alongside Danny Ings. Again, still getting outnumbered in midfield, not really able to get any too much quality. Decent possession in the final third. Whatever, Emre is gesticulating down on the touchline, he's not really getting his message across.
Traore going down the right, taking on Mings. He's 1-on-1 with the Tyrone Mings, and then comes infield, lashes a shot left-footed towards the far post. It's over the bar. Well, that was an opportunity, that's for sure. Didn't test Emi Martinez, but certainly tested the wits of Tyrone Mings, and he beat him.
And that's why, with all the ability that he's got, and that pace, and the power, he should be far more effective than he is.
Yeah, I mentioned his goal statistics aren't particularly great. He's a player who has such rapid speed. He's been around the block now for a little while, has Adama Traore. He's 26 years of age.
He's technically very good as well. There was the one season, was it, where he suddenly thought, OK, he's got it, and his end product went through the roof. And he came back the following season and disappeared again.
Augustinson forward to Coutinho, a little flick by Ings, and it encourages Coutinho to break down the left-hand side. Semedo doesn't get there, it goes out of play and away for a throw-in, and Aston Villa once again find themselves, the nearly men, just not quite clicking. Dendoncker picks it up, sends it square, collected now by Leon Bailey. Bailey, who's been a bit frustrating tonight, left-footed, sends the ball into the box. It takes a little deflection, shouts of a handball, possibly maybe a corner, and they do in fact get a corner, and it goes behind and away for another Aston Villa corner. They haven't had too many of those so far tonight. They haven't really made too many entries into the box tonight. That's been a real problem for them.
But again, it was a poor decision from Bailey, trying to shoot from 30 yards out. He's lucky, really, that he ends up getting a corner from it.
Here is the corner to be taken over on the far side. Aston Villa with a group of claret and blue jerseys just inside the area, north of the penalty spot. Boubacar Kamara has been held onto at the far post, but the delivery was so wretched it was easily cleared. Cash has then thundered a shot from 40 yards. Traore's fallen over as it ricochets back and he tries to chase Cash. And now there's a man over on the left-hand side. Buendia could feed him. He doesn't bother. He just hits it against the defender. It goes out for a corner. Philippe Coutinho was standing in the Atlantic Ocean of space over on the far side, and he just didn't get his head up.
Yet again, poor decision. Simple as that. Get themselves fortunate to win the ball back. Overlap on the outside. Don't find the man.
Mings from the corner just chucks it into the box. It's cleared away by Wolves. Cash picks it up down the right side, plays it into Bailey. Bailey looks up, left-footed, drills it towards the far post. Augustinson's arriving with a header straight at goal. Well, it's a shot on target, and there hasn't been too many of those. Goal at Selhurst Park in Abrahams.
Palace 0, Spurs 4. Heung-min Son in on the act now. He was just too strong for Mark Guehi from a poke through from Harry Kane, and this time he did beat Guaita. This is now getting embarrassing. Palace 0, Spurs 4.
Well, Spurs had to claw their way back into the game with Brentford on Boxing Day, and then they lost to Villa, but they've got back to winning ways tonight. And they are absolutely battering Crystal Palace, who have had an indifferent start to the season, really. Here on the right side is Semedo. Semedo travels infield, gives it to Hodge. Hodge back to halfway. Collins into Aït-Nouri, and now it's collected by Matthias Nunez. Nunez tried to hand it off to Neves, got it back again, and then does well to get it out towards his near side. You can see why Pep Guardiola is such a fan of Nunez. He dictates the play in that Wolves midfield. Well, that's a good ball down to Cunha on the left-hand side. Flag might go up eventually, but it's played in centrally towards Aït-Nouri. Goes back out to the edge of the area. The flag has still stayed down. Eventually it's cleared away by Cash to Kamara. And all the Aston Villa players are standing around waiting for the flag to go up. Just get rid of it. Left by Coutinho, out to the far side. Then Donker, who started the season at Wolves, now in a Villa shirt, goes striding over the halfway line. He's got space out wide in for Augustinsson. Comes back infield to Coutinho. Coutinho wide on the left to Augustinsson again. The Swede delivers across into the box. And it's headed away rather easily by Collins and then cleared out towards the near side. Bailey picks it up for Aston Villa. Now Cash takes it in. Then back infield it goes. Is crossing the ball into the box the wisest idea, bearing in mind Buendia and Ings are a lot smaller than the two centre-halves for Wolverhampton Wanderers?
No, and also most of the time they're hitting the first man anyhow, you know, is the answer to that.
I mean, it's almost like, you know, the land of the giants back there with Kilman and Collins.
It's very easy, isn't it, at the moment for Wolves?
Here is Cash down the right side, trying to get the better of Aït-Nouri. He's held him up well, goes back to Konza. Konza doesn't really have an option, wanted to go back to Cash, didn't quite do that, decided to go to Mings instead. Then Donker's dropped into midfield to pick it up, and Aston Villa trying to build from in front of the centre circle. Augustinsson. Then it's on to Dendoncker. Dendoncker into Kamara. Kamara onto Konza. Konza out wide into Cash. Cash trying to get the cross in. It's a half decent one as well. This time headed away again by Kilman. And then Konza with a little trick to get beyond his man. He goes to the corner flag, produces a cross into the box. Guess what? Kilman heads it away. It's picked up by Cunha, and then it's on to Aït-Nouri. Aït-Nouri tries to return it. Bailey stops him from doing so, and actually Bailey did well to travel back and win that for Aston Villa. Mings up towards the halfway line, off to Leeds in just a second. It's a crucial moment of the game there as they reach the closing stages. It's crucial here as well because we've got 15 minutes to go and Villa are trying to knock at the door. They're not knocking very loudly at the moment. Here's Augustinsson's ball into the penalty area. Oh, it comes off the defender. Did it hit a hand? The referee says no. VAR will look at it. Buendia picks it up. They're still screaming for a penalty. Cash into the box, deep towards the far post. They're queuing up. Here's Augustinsson. It's cleared off the line by Kilman, who got back on the line and glanced it out for a corner. What a chance.
The only way that's not handball is if it's hit his chest. It rolled up his leg, didn't it? Might have hit his midriff and then hit his hand. That's the only reason I can think why that's not handball.
Did it touch another part of his body first? That's the key question.
That's what I mean. It hits his leg and it hits his foot, his thigh.
Hugo Bueno.
Even still, tell you what, VAR aren't even looking at it by the looks of it.
Well, the referee seems to have waved play on. And we're going to have a corner. No penalty. I think it's because it did touch his foot first and then onto his arm. That's the only thing I can think of. His arm was away from the body. Here is the corner kick. Left-footed in towards the near post. Again, it's an easy header away for Cunha. Again, he's the first man at that near post. And again, Aston Villa don't get the ball accurately into the box. Bailey tries again, this time deeper towards Mings at the far post. Well, he's pushed off the ball by Neves and then takes it towards the far corner flag. Looks to turn, plays it against Neves, doesn't quite go out for a corner. Neves absolutely scores him with a brilliant touch and then releases Adama Traore, who's going forward now. He can't get past Kamara. It's back through the centre. Bailey chasing. Bueno is there first. And Wolverhampton Wanderers will take it to the left full-back position and attempt to clear. But it's well won back. Bailey put enough pressure on to deflect the ball to Ings. His cross again into the area to absolutely no one. Flicked away by Neves. Collected by Buendia. Buendia now moving it on to Augustinson, who's made a difference. His cross into the box is weak. It's caught by Jose Sarr.
I don't understand that penalty situation. It's a slice clearance. It's poor play, and he gets lucky. I understand if it comes off your thigh and it hits your hand within a very, very small margin.
I think you're right. I mean, I've seen...
His hand's above his head.
The problem is, in continental Europe, that would definitely be a penalty. In the World Cup, that would be a penalty. But in the Premier League, there is a little bit of a reluctance to give a penalty for that sort of thing.
But it's poor
when
play.
It's touched another part of the body.
But that's not a deflection, Sam, is it? He's gone to kick it.
And he's missed it.
He's skewed it completely, and it pops up and hit his hand above his head. I think that should be a penalty.
Closing stages at Ellen Road. Let's find out what's happening there. Leeds against West Ham. Mark Wilson.
Into the 90th minute, still Leeds 2, West Ham 2, but Leeds have had two great chances. Rodrigo played in by Harrison, forced a great save out of Fabianski, and from a corner with 2 minutes left, Cooper's header cleared off the line and he blazed over from 6 yards out. He hits the target, he scores. We're awaiting added on time. It's fire, it's Leeds 2, West Ham 2.
You're listening to Game Day exclusive on Talksport. Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. It's Aston Villa 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Julian Lopetegui is looking for a victory. He's looking to try and drag his team away from the bottom of the table there.
I thought he was about to take Traore off then.
Yes,
He was screaming at him, but he just wants him to tuck in. Well, I think he does.
His team started the day second bottom of the table. He's always tucked in, his Adama Traore. His shirt's always firmly pressed into his shorts, isn't he? He's one of those. He's a Kieran Tierney.
Well, I think he's put a bit of oil on his boots as well at the moment, because he keeps falling over every 5 minutes.
Here's Mings inside the centre circle. Aston Villa looking for an equaliser. He's up towards Ings, who brings it down. A slip by the goalkeeper. And Danny Ings takes advantage. And Danny Ings scores again. Their top scorer this season. His 50th appearance for Aston Villa, his 5th goal in 7 games since Steven Gerrard departed the scene. May well have just rescued Unai Emery. A wretched performance from Aston Villa. A slip at a vital time from Jose Sarr. And you don't give Danny Ings opportunities like that, because he will snaffle up the chance. 1-1.
I'm not sure he does slip. Jose Sarr's a little bit unlucky, starts to come. I just thought he was a little bit hesitant to start with. To be fair, he probably would have never got there, but what it did, it made up Ings' mind. As he slips, it's bouncing nicely for him. And because he slips, he can't quite get there to stop him as he volleys it, and he just scoops it over him, lifts it into an empty net. Really cool finish from Danny Ings.
Well, Unai Emery made the changes. He was bold. He took off Ollie Watkins. He threw on Danny Ings, and Danny Ings has repaid him. And all of a sudden, the noise levels, the volume is cranked up inside Villa Park. And to be honest with you, it's not very often that either of these two teams score late in games. Aston Villa have only scored before tonight, one Premier League goal after the 75th minute. But here's Buendia, ringing the ball high up, hitting it against the defender. It goes behind and away for a corner.
I have to say that goal was more luck than judgment, wasn't it? It was a hopeful ball through, and unfortunately Jose Sarr slipped. That's a great finish from Danny Ings, but what have Villa got now with 10 minutes plus injury time to go?
Well, Austin McPhee, the set-piece coach, will be hoping that what they've got is a better delivery than what they've produced so far in this game. Because they have a corner away to our right. Buendia is going to take it. And there are a number of claret shirts lurking with intent. Wolverhampton Wanderers, who started the day second bottom of the table, watching on here as that ball comes in towards the near post, flicked away by Aït Nouri. The answer to the question is they didn't get a better delivery than what they've got all night. They got exactly what they've been getting every time the ball has been put into the box, and that is something that is a real problem for Unai Emery tonight. The quality of the ball into the 18-yard box has been nothing short of dreadful.
And Wolves back into second from bottom. You know, unfortunate from them. Although what it does mean now is there's 3 points separating the 7 teams instead of just the 2.
All lurking towards the bottom. Anyone's in it down there, that's for sure. The way things are at the moment. Here is Matt Cash moving down the right side, trying to nudge it into Coutinho. Coutinho picking it up, trying to get away to Bailey, and then gets it back again in the right wing position. Looks for Kamara, a little reverse pass, didn't work for him. Cunha's picked it up for Wolves, and he's racing clear. Coutinho's coming from the side, yellow card.
Just getting a little bit fractious at the moment, isn't it?
Well, about time. It's supposed to be a West Midlands derby.
I told you, there's hardly an Englishman on there. They don't understand what this West Midlands derby is all about. It's not Steve Bull and Ewan Roberts up front like I had to deal with back in the day.
Andy Much, I thought you were playing against. Here on the right side, the Traore is broken through, past Augustinson into the area, right-footed shot, saved by Emi Martinez. The offside flag was off anyway. I wasn't surprised. It looked as if Traore was at least a yard offside when that ball was played through, and eventually the free kick is given in favour of Aston Villa. 1-1 the score. Danny Ings with the equalising goal. Amazing, isn't it? You know, Steven Gerrard departs the scene, all of a sudden he starts scoring again.
Sometimes it's, as a departed manager, you can just get unlucky.
Another ball over the top for Ings to chase, and it's headed away this time by Totti, who's come off the bench to go into a centre-half position. Here is Mings out towards the far side. It's collected by Augustinson. Augustinson back to Mings, and all of a sudden Aston Villa trying to take charge, trying to dictate the tempo of the game, trying to break down this Wolves defence for a second time and steal the 3 points. Bailey takes on Aït-Nouri, poke behind, and it's out for a corner kick.
They're still not creating though, are they, Sam? That's the problem that they've got, that they're dominating possession in and around the final third. There's a lack of ideas, a lack of creativity in the final third for Aston Villa.
Yeah, they've made 5 subs now of Wolverhampton Wanderers, including Totti. All 5 of them have been utilised as they prepare to defend this corner kick. Away on our right, it's Leon Bailey placing the ball down in the quadrant. Is he going to come up with a telling touch at the vital moment? 7 minutes to go before the end. Remember, Wolves came from behind to win this game last season. It's a deep one towards the far post, easily plucked out of the sky by 6'5" Jose Sarr.
Sorry, Stan, did you say they've got a set-piece coach?
Yes. Here is Aït-Nouri picking the ball up at the other end, trying to take a touch and send it down into the 18-yard box. Matt Cash, whose hair has come undone a little bit now as he slides in to win the ball from Aït-Nouri, punches the air with delight, and it goes out on this near side. And away for a throw-in.
He got away with it because Aït-Nouri had a touch like me then.
We'll go off to Leeds in just a second, where it is full-time. Finished 2-2 there, but the battle is hotting up here at Villa Park. And it's out for a throw in the right full-back position. Can we go to Mark Wilson now, Mark?
Leeds 2, West Ham 2. Nonto put Leeds in front with his first goal. Paqueta from the spot levelled it up right at the break, and then straight out of the second half, Scamacca picked up on a loose pass, 25-yard curling shot in off the post, put West Ham in front. Leeds deservedly got an equaliser. Rodrigo's 10th of the season. Nice finish for him from the edge of the box, but David Moyes will be thanking his keeper because Fabianski's point-blank save late on denied Rodrigo what looked a certain winner. It's ended here. Great game. Leeds 2, West Ham 2.
Great game for Mark tonight. Great game and great commentary yesterday on the 9 Data, and if you get a chance to listen back to that on the Talksport app, then please do, because it was spine-tingling stuff. Here's Kamara down the right side, collected by Bailey. He's a yard in from the touchline. It goes back in field into Konza. We've got 5 minutes to go. You're listening to Talksport. Cash down the right side in towards Bailey. Bailey trying to jink past Aït-Nouri, and the touch takes it out of play and away for another Aston Villa throw. They certainly got better as the game has gone on. I mean, they still haven't been particularly good at getting the ball into the box, but they've had a bit more confidence about them since the goal, Aston Villa. Bailey's in offside position, lazily doesn't come back in time.
I think partly that, Sam, is down to Wolves have sat back a little bit too much, haven't they? They've eased off, and it's difficult. When you're down there and you're 1-0 up, as much as you know that attack is the best form of defence, you need to play high up the pitch. Subconsciously, you're always like, let's just protect this lead a little bit. We just drop off a yard, and you think you're protecting it.
Well, I think before tonight, there's a few sort of looking at the Aston Villa form, thinking possibly Unai Emery might have his sights on the top half finish, but that hasn't happened at Villa for a few years, and it hasn't happened for a reason. The squad is not at the requisite quality, really. They last finished in the top 10 12 years ago, and in all honesty, I mean, they haven't looked like a top half team in this game. They've probably stolen a point here, but and neither of them are particularly great, and Wolves very much look like a team that have got a bit of good attitude about them as Danny Ings closes down Jose Sarr, and they've got some talent, and they may well get out of their problems in the relegation battle, but they've not got much wit and invention going forward themselves. It's distinctly 1-1.
Well, I watched Wolves play Forest, and honestly, it was the worst game I've ever seen. There was 3 shots on target, 2 of those were penalties, and one of them was missed. Again, it's just, I don't know, teams are too safe these days.
Bailey trying to skip infield past Aït-Nouri. He leaves him on his backside, then he takes on another 3 players, still got hold of it, gets to the 6-yard box, shoots, it's blocked by Totti. Comes back out as far as Kamara, then it's shifted infield to Konza. Konza sends it forward, he looks up, plays it into Buendia, who's just dropped a little deep, and then he doesn't know what he's doing with it, so he gives it away. Unai Emery goes absolutely crackers as Traoré steals up the half of the pitch in towards Cunha. Cunha on the edge of the area, trying to get past the defender. Konza does that, stops the ball, keeps hold of it. Konza recovers just in time, and then almost contrives to give it back again before spinning it out to the far side, and Buendia, whose initial mistake it was in the first place, has to run it out over on the far touchline. He then tries to give it away, then Donker gets hold of it, and eventually Augustinson finds a pass that actually meets a teammate. Free kick, no play on, says the referee. Comes to Nunez, strikes down the middle of the goal over the top of the crossbar. Well, the referee put the whistle in his mouth, then went to stop the game, and then decided actually it wasn't going to give a foul, and went play on, and then Nunez cracked a shot goalwards.
Yeah, it's always confusing for the players, that, isn't it? Because they'll look to the referee and you think, oh, he's going to blow his whistle, and then he changes his mind and doesn't. But just before that, Traoré had a great opportunity. He's 45 yards from goal, 1-on-1, just knock it beyond the defender and put the afterburners on. Use the assets that you've got. He's quicker than Usain Bolt, for goodness sake.
Well, it's a terrific contest now in terms of it's an entertaining prospect now. Here's Aït-Nouri bundling his way through the penalty area. Left-footed drive. Oh, it's saved by Emi Martinez. Well, Aït-Nouri seemed to take on the entire Villa backline there.
He's hardly had anything to do, has he? Emi Martinez, that's a great save. Lovely bit of skill from Aït-Nouri. Comes inside. Matty Cash dives in, gets it all wrong, and he just smashes it towards the far post. I think luckily it's in that zone where Martinez can just put his hands up and make the block.
Ah, what a great save it was from Emi Martinez. Corner in towards the near post by Matheus Nunes. Oh, it's just behind Matheus Cunha. And then another ball came onto the pitch, and the referee's given a corner over on the far side because it took a little flick of an Aston Villa jersey.
I think that was one of the crowd, you know. Dear, held the ball and then threw that onto the pitch.
Just to try and disrupt the corner.
Yeah.
To stop the goal from counting if indeed it had done. Well, the referee didn't have to worry about that in the end because the delivery scooted past everybody in old gold. Another corner on the far side with a minute to go, live on Talksport. It's going to be Matheus Nunes to take.
Look at Traoré and Buendia.
And Buendia having a little cuddle as the ball goes in towards the near post. Pointless. Headed away. I said pointless because I was watching Buendia try to wrestle with Traoré. Here is Nunez into the penalty area, skipping past 2 challenges. His shot is blocked by Danny Ings. Neves has it on the edge of the area, then sends it wide. Matheus Nunes, who's been incredibly influential in the game, back heels the ball to himself. Augustinson then stops him. He pulls Augustinson back. It's going to be a free kick in the left full-back position.
I mean, there's almost no quality in the game at the moment, but at least it's end-to-end and exciting.
Yeah, it's brilliant fun. 4 minutes of added time. Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Southampton rooted to the bottom of the table. Leeds 2, West Ham 2. Aston Villa 1, Wolves 1 here, and Tottenham are thrashing Crystal Palace elsewhere in the Premier League. Tomorrow, Chelsea against Manchester City. We'll have updates throughout the course of the evening on that game. Friday night, Manchester United against Everton kicks off our FA Cup coverage. 4 minutes of added time. Can Aston Villa get a winner in this game? It's nudged forward by Cash into the centre and then cleared away. Well, Wolverhampton Wanderers had the lead for so long in this game. Aston Villa were knocking at the door but not able to open it up in any way, shape or form until that vital slip from Jose Sarr just allowed an extra second for Danny Ings to lift it over him after a hopeful ball forward from Tyrone Mings. And it's 1-1 going into added time at the end of the 90. Wolverhampton Wanderers will stay second bottom of the Premier League as a result of this. Nottingham Forest, thanks to their victory today, will scoot up the table out of dodge for now into 15th position. Cross from Bailey in towards the near post. Buendia goes up there. Goalkeeper comes and juggles with it ahead of Augustinsson and then bowls it out to Nunez, who immediately looks up and finds Kamara. Kamara turns the ball over and now Aston Villa are on the charge and the goalkeeper's out of his goal. Coutinho in towards the edge of the penalty area, down the left side. Villa on the attack here. Kamara gets it to the byline, plays it against Hodge. It's squeezed back in by Augustinsson. Another high cross which is pointlessly aimed in towards the centre of the penalty area because there's no one there of any real height in claret and blue, and it's nudged away by Kilman. It comes out as far as Buendia. They keep it alive and the pressure on here, Aston Villa, lacking the quality but having a bit more hope now, a bit more intensity, a bit more pressure being applied to the Wolves defence. Buendia turning it back infield towards Kamara. Kamara looks up, plays it forward, blocked by Neves. Again, frustration on the Villa bench. The arms are going everywhere. Mings switches the play beautifully out towards Buendia this time. Can he produce a low cross into the near post? He does. It's steered away by Kilman again. Here is Cash under pressure, turning away from Hodge, turning away and out of the danger zone. They go back to Konza, back to Cash. Now they attack again down the right. Another big, deep, hopeful cross, which is too big, goes over the head of Augustinsson and Dendoncker, and out and away for a goal kick away to our right-hand side.
Really poor quality in the final third, isn't it? I have to say from both teams, really. That's been the problem. What was it? 3 shots apiece, and a couple of those have been incredibly tame. Just no. This is, I think, a lot of the issue with modern day football at the moment. It's all about keeping the ball. It's all about keeping the stats up, and possession is 9/10 of the law and all this sort of stuff. But no one's prepared to take a chance. No one's being really creative.
Emi Martinez has it at his feet. He manages to kick the ball high into the night sky. It's flicked away by Dendoncker. That Crystal Palace Tottenham game has finished. Here's Bailey in behind the defence and he's racing clear past the goalkeeper. He's gone beyond him. It's an open goal and he's missed it. An open goal. 10 yards from it. No one but green grass between him and 3 points. And he's missed the opportunity. Leon Bailey's night summed up in a matter of seconds.
Unbelievable. The goalkeeper's had an absolute shocker, only to be followed up by Bailey having a bigger shocker. Don't know what the goalkeeper comes out, jumps ridiculously like a starfish, gets nowhere near it. Bailey's clever enough to just knock it past him, and with the goal gaping, he hits the top of the ball, bounces it into the ground, doesn't even hit the target. What a miss that is.
Oh dear.
It's like watching Gabriel Bonglahor back at Villa Park.
There's the full-time whistle. The West Midlands spoils are shared. Wolves remain in a battle to keep their heads above water. Aston Villa remain a work in progress, but it wasn't a particularly good game in terms of quality. It burst to life in terms of entertainment value towards the end. Bailey is down on the floor with his head firmly in his hands over by the right touchline because he knows that he had the perfect opportunity to win the game for Aston Villa in the final few seconds. Played in over the top, he outpaced Kilman, the goalkeeper came out and made a horrendous mistake. He went round him, the whole goal was gaping and he misfired into the side netting.
It looks like he's absolutely sobbing, Sam.
He's absolutely gutted and quite... I mean, I understand it because he knows that was a massive, massive chance. But he's being consoled by Danny Ings. He's being consoled by Ollie Watkins. But he's furious with himself because he knows how big that chance was. Now, look, Wolverhampton Wanderers' need was certainly greater, but they missed the chance tonight to move out the bottom three. They led for ages in this game, but they couldn't get over the line. A mistake, a slip allowed them in. A bigger mistake almost cost them the entire match. It's finished Aston Villa 1, Wolves 1.
Well, what a way to end the game. Leon Bailey just walking right in front of us. He's absolutely distraught. The Villa fans are applauding him, trying to, I don't know, give him a little bit of confidence back, make him feel a bit better about what was a glaring miss, but his face is contorted with pain as he puts his hand to the back of his head. He's in serious emotional agony, Bailey, after that miss right at the end. Danny Mills, you're not really known for your emotional reactions, but have you got sympathy for Bailey? Having seen his face as he just walked past us, having seen him lying flat on his face, sobbing on the pitch.
No.
Why not?
Just missed the chance. Be angry, but don't lay on the floor crying about it.
He was upset. Don't you want the players to care?
I get that. And maybe because it's it's almost the last kick of the game, makes it a little bit worse. But is he going to do that if that's the 15th minute? Is he going to lay on the floor crying because he missed a sitter? No.
Best thing to do is score, right?
No, of course it is. He should have scored. He knows that. I almost, if he goes over and kicks the hoarding or shows a bit of anger. But don't lay on the floor sobbing.
Well, he should have won it for Aston Villa. It would have been unjust. I will let you gather your thoughts in terms of a man of the match, Danny Mills. Meantime, let's round up what happened at Selhurst Park.